Jeff, it's basketball season. You know how much we love college basketball. Let's take a few minutes, get back our man, Penn Men's basketball coach Steve Donahue. Coach, thanks for the time again.
Hey, it's great to be on, guys. Thanks for having me.
We talked about before you got on your background. You've got the palestra in the background as we do this interview. Um, just talk about that building that you get to go to every day, and that your players get to play in.
Yeah, I think it's difficult to put into words what this venue is like, but it is the best college basketball arena. Not just to play in, to coach in, but I think what separates it is it's the best venue to go to a game at. You're intimately involved in the sport when you're here. The last row is seems like about 10 feet from the floor, and it fits almost 9,000. Just an incredible place that I get to call work.
How important is it to stress to your players, to these athletes, the history of Penn basketball, of the Palestra?
I think that's a huge piece of what we do in recruiting and what our guys eventually decide to come here. It's just dripping with tradition. Walk our concourse and see the museum of what happened over the last, which will be 100 years here in a couple of years, in this building is pretty remarkable. I don't think the guys take it for granted to think that they can play 60 home games of their career in this environment is pretty special.
Talk about the excitement this time of year. The city's been on fire with what's going on with the Phillies, obviously ending the Eagles, and here you are ready to start college basketball. What's it like for a coach this time of year?
Yeah, I think, and I've been other places. I just think Philadelphia is the number one college basketball major city in the country. We value it. We care it. I look at the Big Five, and now that Drexel's in there, is our fifth franchise. That's what it is. I mean, and we're all striving for greatness. And this time of year for me, this is what I love about coaching. I love the beginning. I love the end. I love the ups and downs and the competitiveness of it. And here it is. It's that time of year. Just jump on the treadmill as the season goes and enjoy every moment of it.
Even though the Phillies unfortunately did not make the World Series, we've had the opportunity to kind of be in the spotlight as Philadelphia because of the fans and the way that the fans are this extra piece to teams. What is it like to play in this city where you not only have the support of Penn and the alumni from Penn and the students of Penn, but really the entire city that embraces college basketball in the University of Pennsylvania?
Yeah, as I said, I spent 5 years up in Boston, and they just don't care about college athletics there like we care here. In particular, college basketball. It's been the big fabric of our sports for so long. Like we're going to play Villanova here at the Palestra. It'll be sold out, and it will be a raucous environment. And then we'll have a triple header December 2nd at the Wells Fargo with all six of us playing on one day. And that will be a special day as well, and where we get to crown a champion for the Big Five. So it's just a very unique setting for college athletics in a major city, and we get to enjoy it here in Philly.
You mentioned this day that's going to be the six teams from Philadelphia. One of the things we've noticed, we wanted to have you on, obviously, to talk to you about coaches versus cancer. And one of the things I think we've talked to you about and the other coaches about in Philadelphia is that you are a fraternity, that the coaches in this city, even though you're rivals, seem to be this fraternity of coaches as part of the community, as part of Coaches versus Cancer. What is it like for you to be part of this unique fraternity?
I think the unique fraternity is a great way of putting it. I have colleagues all over the country that are just don't understand how we can be so close as a coaching fraternity here in Philadelphia. And I do think it has a lot to do with Coaches versus Cancer and what Fran Dunphy and Phil Martelli grew over 25 years ago into what it is today. That has a lot to do with us being so tight. We know we have incredible opportunity to bring purpose to our occupation, to our program. And that's what Coaches versus Cancer with the city of Philadelphia allows us to do.
Talk to us about this upcoming season. A lot of fresh faces. You kind of turning the page for the program with a new start here. Talk to us about how you prepare for that as a coach with this new opportunity here.
Yeah, I think unfortunately, like a lot of teams in college basketball, it was surprising for us. We lost a senior essentially that transferred to St. John's, and then we had another senior starter who retired for some injuries that he's been plagued with. So we got the opportunity. I look at two returning guys in Clark Slackard and Nick Spinoza, who started last year. Then guys like George Smith, Eddie Holland, who had played during their careers. And then guys maybe like Cam Thrower, a sophomore, who I feel will be a real integral part of our team. And then we got 5 new faces. But it's been, for me, I love it. I think it's an exciting time of the year, trying to put together a team that I feel can be competitive, that will have growing pains. But at the end of the day, when it comes to challenging for an Ivy League championship, I think we have a team that has the making of that if we do what we need to do over the next couple months leading up to the league championship.
You know, you mentioned the transfer portal, and not to have you speak on Jordan himself, but just the portal in general. How is it for a coach these days where you coach players hard and want to teach them, but at the same time, you don't want them to walk out the door and go someplace else because they think they can get a different opportunity somewhere?
I think I'm torn by it in general. It's a part of obviously what we have to deal with. I'm reading a book. Adam Grant, one of our terrific professors, just came out with a book called Hidden Potential. And one of the things he touches on is that, the growth comes with adversity for all of us. We've all learned our trades and our crafts by going through hard times and getting through it. I think the transfer portal skips that. If something's difficult, let's go to greener pastures. And for us in this profession, this is the time in their lives that we need to really allow the kids to struggle, get over those humps and figure it out. And unfortunately, I think the way college basketball is right now, some of that's being lost. And I don't know if that's for the betterment of what we're here for, to help and educate and grow these guys in a really important time of their lives.
We talked to some athletic directors when the portal first started, and their concern was similar, was the idea that athletes wouldn't go through the hard times, that if there was an easier out, they would take that easier out if they could go start somewhere else instead of staying behind and doing. As a coach, when you're recruiting, do you have to look for a different kind of mentality now? Do you have to look for players that or you hope are going to want to do the hard work, not just to be a starter or be a good basketball player, but recognize that if things don't go your way, that if you give it time and you work hard, ultimately you will be rewarding yourself, not just on a basketball court or a football field, but also in life.
Hey, Jeff, I think we're an outlier in college basketball. That's one recruit in probably 25 years that has left us and transferred. But you're exactly right. In our recruitment, this is a different circumstance here. One, you're going to get really challenged academically. Your parents are going to have to make a substantial financial investment where we don't have scholarships and all the other things that schools are offering. So we kind of do that in recruiting, and we have our ways to really get to who we feel will really value this. And I agree with you. I just think we have an incredible product here that if you're willing to sacrifice and go through the hard times and really take a little different path than a lot of college basketball players do, I think 10, 20, 30 years from now, you're really going to be grateful that you took that path to whatever you're doing in life.
Well,
Oh.
that the NIL, let's put that aside because now we're almost at the season. The hard work's been done for recruitment. Obviously, you never stop doing that, but now the season's right around the corner. What is it like for you? You go through this up and down in the course of a year where the season ends and then you have to go through recruitment and planning for that. What is it like for you as a coach to get excited about the beginning of a new season?
I'm so spoiled with what I do for a living. I love this time of year. Like just the last 6 months are figuring out what our team's going to look like and implementing tactical things that we can do to bring out the strength in these guys and the excitement in the gym and watching. I get to watch 18 to 22-year-olds that are so excited about the beginning of the year. And I feel it. And it feels the same way for me as it has for the previous 30 years that I've done this. And it's just an exciting time. And then it hits you, whether it's positive or negative, and then how you answer those ups and downs really determine where you're going to be at the end of the year. So as a program, we're excited. Coaching staff, players, we can't wait to get going.
I'm just curious, you're somebody who watches the landscape of college basketball. You're at home in the Ivy, but lots of teams changing conferences with realignment. And does that impact you at all as a school who knows where you are? Or, what is the impact of that?
I think for me, it's more an impact on, unfortunately, where I think college athletics is going. That's the biggest fear that I have. These two things can be true. Maybe the athletes need to benefit more than just a scholarship and some of the rewards that you see. And at the same time, the product that we have and the sport we love that energizes our whole country may go away. That's unfortunately for me, 10, 15, 20 years from now, I don't know what this is going to look like. And I think that's the shame of it all. We have a product that people really feel a part of. It pulls in them, their intrinsic feeling that they get about, as you said, Jeff, rooting for Michigan. Will that be there with all this that's going on now? Or will that separate and not make you feel the same way you do feel about your alma mater? That's what I look at. That's my fear I have. I think we have something so special. I would hate to see it change so dramatically and the popularity of it eventually, not right away, eventually diminish.
To me, the biggest concern, if I were you, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but as a coach, is the change in college sports from a regionalized competition to a nationalized competition, so that for coaches, you don't only have the preparation of the travel you used to do for a lot of these teams, Michigan, whatever it is, where you could get on a bus and go, or it was a one-day trip and you'd be back, to now look at the Big Ten, look at the ACC. These are national conferences now. And while college football may be able to afford this, the rest of the sports, how do they afford it? How is you as a coach deal with the fact that your student athletes are now on the road more?
Yeah. So once again, Jeff, we're an outlier. But my time at BC really gave me a front row view of what it is that you're talking about. It's the honest answer is it's not sustainable. The other sports will be changing, as will basketball and football. They're going to have to figure that out. And the other sports will eventually get back to regional play, which makes total sense. Everything's about who can we watch on TV and the streaming opportunities. the other sports will eventually, to me, be hurt by it, but could benefit with more regional rivalries, all the things that we grew up loving. But I think the ship has sailed for basketball and football. That's going to turn into more what you see in the NBA with conferences and divisions built on East Coast, West Coast, those kind of scenarios.
How much is too much of a good thing? I'm somebody who used to set my clock around the first 2 days of the NCAA tournament. I mean, my parents would say I didn't go to class anyway when I was in school, but I made sure that I was not going to class on the first 2 days of the tourney. Now there's talk of expanding the tourney even more past the 68. We talked the realignment. Like, at what point do you reach this tipping point in a sport where the chase for dollars means you lose the meaning that you're talking about, the connection, because it's so disparate?
I think I think you're right on. I think this will eventually diminish what we feel about college sports. I think it's already happening. But that's the chase of the almighty dollar. When is that ever good? And I think that's what you're seeing. Um, you know, the people that will say, well, this is what the money does and it's good and we build it up, and there's no way that this is really going to be good for the fans, the people that you need invested in your program, because it doesn't make a lot of sense. You can lose interest quickly, and another generation of what you and I grew up with not existing will, to me, just really eliminate the popularity of sport and eventually change it maybe back, way past my time here, but back to the way it originally was, because to me, it's not sustainable.
Well, look, Coach, watching Penn basketball is fun. It's a good thing. But one of the other things that gives you the opportunity to do, the other coaches in the city, is to do the Coaches versus Cancer. What does it mean to you to be part of that organization?
I can't tell you. For me as a head coach, and I've been grateful to have the leadership of Fran Dunphy when I was an assistant, just to be able to bring purpose to any of our lives that's more than just what we do for a living. And here I have an opportunity to make an impact with so many ways, in a positive way, to help with this Coaches versus Cancer, people that are going through it, and then also allow our players to see what's really important in life, not just winning, but helping others that are less fortunate than you. That's what Coaches versus Cancer allows me to do. So I know, we have our big luncheon coming up November 2nd at the Hilton. Amy Fadul, who does an incredible job with us, she'll be hosting and be there running it. All 6 Division I coaches will be there. I love for new people to come. We have an incredible following. That's what makes this city special. I'll go again. We tried this in Boston. It's not the same passion for college basketball. These events don't take off like this one. So we'll have John Feinstein there as well, emceeing it, and a great college sports writer. But anybody has interest in coming and being a part of it, we love to have you. PhillyCVC.org is the way to get a hold of us. And the more, the merrier. It's an incredible event. We're all touched by this horrific disease. Let's crush it, as Phil Martelli would say.
Well, that's it. You and the other coaches have done so much, dating back now decades, to help raise awareness, raise money, help families. How important is it as a coach to be that kind of leader for the student athlete, to show them that sport isn't just about sport, and it's not just about you, and it's not just about the team, but it's about the community that you live in?
Jeff, it's my biggest responsibility as a coach and a leader, to mentor by example, whether that's a husband, a father, someone doing things like this. And I try to incorporate all of our guys into a lot of community service. And I'm sure there's times where they're pulled at their wits' end with all we ask. But I'm sure there's a chance when they leave that they understand how important it is to give back. The other part I want to make sure you realize, we do very little as coaches that is difficult. I look at, when I go to these events, the amount of volunteers and the people that give their money and their time to this endeavor is incredible in this city. I just can't tell you how supportive of all the events we do for Coaches versus Cancer and for people that give their time and efforts, honestly, way more than coaches. We got a platform that enables us to reach a lot of people, but it's literally not possible if it wasn't for all the work that all these volunteers and all the companies that feel it's so important to support this Coaches versus Cancer.
It's the community that makes it happen. It's the coaches that get to lead it, but you guys clearly have the support of so many people to make it happen. Coach Steve Donahue, we wish you a great season. We thank you for always giving some time and for what you do, making sure that your players understand and that you understand the role that you serve as a coach leading in this community. Thanks so much for the time.
Great. Appreciate it, guys. Enjoyed it. Thank you.
And good luck on the season, Coach.
Thank you.